Hello YouTube, this is the D.B.T Show. Episode 100, Part 4. Today I'm reviewing my PlayStation 3. Now if you haven't watched Part 1, 2 or 3, you've missed absolutely loads. In Part 1 I talked about the system's features and the looks, and I also talked about controls and hard drive space, sound and lots of other stuff. In Part 2 and 3 I talked about the system, the menu bar on the system, and some of the great features of the system. I also talked about the PlayStation Eye. In this part, which is part 4, I'm going to look at some games. So if you haven't watched part 1, 2 or 3 yet, please go and watch those before you watch this one. Now let's pick up where I left off and let's look at some games. The game I have put in, if you haven't noticed, it's Little Big Planet. I also own Metal Gear Solid 4, but I'm not going to show you that on because it takes so long to load up. So I'll just bring up a level and show you some how good the graphics of this system are. So I think the graphics of the PlayStation 3 are awesome. They're much better than the Wii, and they're either better than the Xbox or up to par. The loading times for most games is really quick. Here we go. This is one of the levels for Little Big Planet in the story mode. As you can see, everything looks very beautiful. My Sackboy is made out of demonite. You can actually see all the stitching. I know in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, which I played earlier this year, you can see all the demonite on Mario's shirt, but on the PlayStation 3, the demonite looks even better. So the graphics for the PlayStation 3, I am really impressed with for the games that I have played. Also, Metal Gear Solid 4, the graphics look really awesome. Like the gravel on the ground looks like proper gravel. You got all the guns look really real. So the graphics of the system are great. Let me just quit that game by pressing the PS button and going down to quit game. Now, you may be asking, does the PS3 8GB play PS1 games? Well, yes it does actually, it's quite a good feature, although there are a few problems with playing PS1 games on the PS3. According to the internet, you can play 60% of the PS1 games on the PS3, so certain games will work and certain games won't work. You can't play PS2 games on the PS3 8GB, but you can play PS2 games on the 60GB, but only 60% of them. Let's look at one of my PS1 games. So give me a second, I'll load it up. Hello YouTube. Right now let's pick up where I left off. Now I've shown you some PS3 graphics, or what PS3 games look like on the system. Now I'm going to show you what an old PS1 game looks like on this system. Now, most of the games that I have played out of my old game library look next to perfect. The PS3 plays most of the games that I own perfectly. Although there is a few problems that I have seen. Certain bits of certain games look different. Example, dark caves in certain Final Fantasy games may look a lot brighter than they did when you played it on the PS2 or the PS1. So there is a slight graphical change. Is it noticeable? Yes it is, because when you do play old games on your PS3, you will notice certain graphical changes. You won't notice any change in controls because the controls were the same as they did for the old. They used to play on the old system, but you will notice differences in the graphics. Earlier on this year, I reviewed War of the Worlds on my PS2, and I've looked at my PS2 review, and I've looked at footage from my PS3 review, and the graphics on the PS3 look a little bit worse than they did on the PS2. So what the hell, Sony? I don't see why you couldn't keep the graphics the same from the PS2 to the PS3. Now, according to them, they didn't design the PS3 to have backwards compatibility. They just put it in there at the last minute for a new feature. They didn't really spend that much time on it, which is a big shame because I would have liked to have sold my PS2 and played all my PlayStation games on my PS3, but when I found the backwards compatibility had problems, I thought I'd better get a PS2. It really upset me because I thought, Sony, come on, you've got to try with these things. Because backwards compatibility, I feel, is really important in a modern day console. I mean, Nintendo Wii did it perfectly. You can play all your GameCube games on it, and all your Wii games on it. The Xbox 360 is actually worse than the PlayStation 3, because you can only download a few original Xbox titles. And even when you download them, sometimes they don't even work. The PS3 is probably the second best system as far as backwards compatibility is concerned. But the one way that the system could improve the backwards compatibility is this. Put two lasers in the system. One laser to play PS1 and PS2 games, and one laser to play PS3 games, which would be a Blu-ray laser. Because I've seen several modern day laptops with two lasers in, so you can play different kind of discs. And I think that's an awesome idea. So I often wonder why they didn't put that into PS3. But other than that, the system does play PS1 games quite well. That's basically all I can show you about the PS3. So let's go to the bad stuff about the system. Right, well, the bad stuff about the PlayStation 3. Well, there isn't really that much to pick fault with. It's a really great system, well worth buying. The only complaint I have about this system is the backwards compatibility. Now, as I said before, whilst I was playing War of the Worlds for a little while, I said that the problem with the backwards compatibility is that Sony didn't really design the system to play PS3 games. They just threw it in there at the last minute, as far as I know. Now, the 60GB version can play PS1 and PS2 and PS3 games, but you can only play a certain amount of PS1 and PS2 games. The 40GB can only play PS1 games and PS3. The 80GB can only play PS1 games and PS3 games. So the backwards compatibility of the system, it's okay, but it would be a lot better if they actually put two lasers in so that the system could play Blu-ray games and also the old PlayStation discs. And it really disappointed me when I couldn't get rid of my old PS2 and just play all my games on one system. So that was a big letdown. Anyway, let's rate the PlayStation 3. I give the PlayStation 3 a 4 out of 5. So it's a pretty good system. It has loads of great games on it, and it's definitely worth buying if you like the games on it. My next video will be a new game review. I'm going to review Jet Force Gemini for the N64. But until then, bye!